What's going on, guys? RoadKingSino here, bringing you another episode of the Dirty Left Shoe Chronicles. You dig? I want to send a big shout out to JetCoast Motorsports for sponsoring this video. I'll be doing an install video of the JetCoast Motorsports upper visor. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, I actually had an airbrush, professional airbrush. Hey, different. Alright guys, so I went ahead and took my lokes off so you can see it in my eyes. Before we go any further with the install, what I want to do is talk a little bit about the hardware that it comes with. These are black, looks like they've been powder coated black with the little rubber inserts inside of them, of course, to protect your frame. These go around the frame. You're going to have 2 at the top and you're going to have 2 on the sides, okay? Then you have 4 screws and 4 lock nuts. People have been messaging me about these caps that I've used for the longest, really almost since day one on my windscreens. Again, it just cleans it up and it's just a matter of pulling it and opening it and closing it. So you see it actually covers it up nice, and it kind of keeps the look of a nice looking windscreen, in my opinion. These caps do not come with the kit, but they are a great addition. If you do want to go to your local hardware store, Ace, Lowe's, Home Depot, they just cost a matter of cents. I believe they're like 30 cents a piece. I don't have the exact size, but just take one of your screws there, guys, and use common sense. Just match it up with the hole, and there you go. If you do not get these closing caps, I would recommend getting plastic washers to put behind it. Okay, what's happening is people are having, let me just put this down for a second. People have been having issues, from what I hear, of taking these screws and getting stress cracks in their windscreen, not particularly the lower one, but the upper one. And what's happening is they're screwing it down. They're using a Phillips screwdriver and they're screwing the head down versus screwing the nut on from the bottom. Now, you can do that, but you do have to be a little bit more cautious and a little bit more careful as far as how hard you're cranking down on everything, because it will put those little stress cracks in there. But to help solve that, if you get the little plastic washers that are basically this, without the cap and without the little side walls and stuff, it's going to help, because you won't have that metal pressing down directly onto that plastic. You'll have plastic to plastic. So that's just a small tip for you guys. It's a little heavy-handed when you're cranking this thing down and you're trying to tighten it all up. Let me go ahead and get these clamps situated on here, and then we'll go ahead and do a quick install, guys. It's not too hard at all. You just got to take your time, use common sense, and just be easy, okay? The screen is going to sit on top, okay? So it should clamp like this, and the screen should sit on top, in case there's any confusion of whether the screen goes in between or anything like that. It doesn't go in between. The screen will sit on top of the C-clamp. Mind you, as usual, the T-Rex is a little dirty, but we ain't worried about it because we just trying to help the T-Rex community. Alright? So we just gonna position these. They're not gonna be in their final position, but they'll be close enough in a position to where we can make adjustments as we go along. This is the upper wind visor. It has a few handprints and things like that on it. I kind of been messing with it a little bit, but it's just as clean as that lower wind visor, okay? And for anyone who's confused, the JetCoast logo on it is going to be on the passenger side. So what we're going to first do is we're going to go ahead and get the top mounted up. We're just trying to get it in a loosely fitted position for now, okay? You see, I'm just laying it out. I got one hand, so it's a little hard for me, but I'm just laying it out, taking my time, okay? And however you have to do it with one hand, I mean, it's just how you have to do it. So look, I'm just going to take and run this through here. This is just going through the top one right now. It's not even going through the bottom one. And you can figure out what works for you. This is just what happens to work for me and what makes it easiest for me. Now I'm going to take this top clamp, this came out, no problem, we ain't worried about it, And you don't even have to put that first one in there off brake. You can if you want, but it's not a big deal. Just make sure you get at least one in here, guys. It's gonna feel a little tight, but it's not a big deal. And if you could get that clamp just caught on a thread right there, what you do is take that nut, press up against it with some pressure, then take your screwdriver, trying to hold that nut, and let that screw bite onto that nut. Okay? Okay, so it's bit on that nut enough. So we know this thing isn't going to go anywhere. Alright guys, same thing on this side. Trying to get it to bite a little bit. Pushing up. Take that screw and just put a little pressure against it. And just lightly do it. You're just trying to get it to grab the bolt. That's it. Okay, so now we got these pieces roughly in a position. So you can make little adjustments with it. It's going to obviously be a little harder to do. You might have to loosen it up a little bit, depending on where these side pieces fit. But you're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go on to the sides now. And we'll probably actually make these a little looser. Just because we need just a little room for some adjustment. So same thing, get that screw, get that nut just on there enough to where you can screw this thing down and it'll straighten up and grab it a little bit. And you'll know because you'll see the C-clamp kind of clamping down. Alright guys, same thing on this last one, okay? I'm going to take this, I'm running it through. If you got a plastic washer, put the plastic washer on it. If you don't have any washer, it's fine. The kit can be used as is without any washers. I'm just giving you all a little extra tip for you heavy-handed people who might just crank down on these things, not really realizing you don't need a whole lot of pressure on it, and then you end up cracking your screen and think that it's an issue with the product, and it's not the product. Sometimes it's us. It's okay. So I had this loosely in a position of where I can make any adjustments, guys. So what you can do is you can kind of stand back from it, make sure it's centered, at least to the way that you want it. You might have to turn these a little bit, scoot these over just a tad, nothing big. But this is the time that you're going to make your adjustments to it. Alright guys, looks pretty good, looks pretty centered. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and lock the top screws down first, and then I'll lock the sides down. This is a 10mm that I'm using, which should work on this. Yeah. Alright. If I didn't have these caps on top, what I did originally was I tightened it up from the bottom. So I tightened the lock nuts down. Okay, being that I have these caps on top that acts as like a plastic washer, so to speak, I'm a little bit more safe of cranking it down with the screwdriver. Again, you can crank it down without the washers, guys, but you just have to be careful and take your time. You don't need a whole lot of pressure on these things, okay? Just take your time. Same thing with the sides, guys. Just take your time. We got the screws snug down. You can go back over them again, but as you can see, everything's on pretty tight. And this is the thing that I love about these caps, okay? After you get done screwing them down, you just lock them in, man. And they just make this thing look so much cleaner, in my opinion. Something that's already clean. Sorry I got the fingerprints all on it, but alright guys, so that's it for the install. Nothing too major, it's not really hard. Just take your time, use common sense, and don't overdo it. Again, just a friendly tip. This is specifically for the people who are a little heavy on top. You don't need them, but if you do and you want to just give yourself a little bit more security, get you those plastic washers to put on the top. Take your time. It's a nice, easy install in my opinion. It looks great so far. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the full review. I'll be doing a highway run to see how much wind this thing is actually taking up off me, because I did get a lot of wind with just this bottom screen, but it's still, nevertheless, it's still a magnificent product, guys. So stay tuned for that. Also, stay tuned for a full review on the cockpit cover. Okay, this is not a full cover. This is a cockpit cover that actually covers basically the inside, the seating area of your T-Rex. So I'll be doing a full review on this too as well, guys. Got a lot of fun things coming up, a lot of fun videos coming up. Big shout out again to JetCoast Motorsports for sponsorship of this T-Rex, and sponsorship of this video. I appreciate all the love. If you haven't done so already, guys, make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Most of all, share this video. If you're digging T-Rex Tuesdays, drop a comment down below and let me know. You dig? I almost failed, but it's all good. That was almost flawless. God damn, y'all.